How do we get to heaven?
If you do good, you get good. If you do bad, you get bad. It's all about making yourself happy. Like you have nothing to be guilty about. So I feel like that person right there, whoever's feeling that moment of bliss or happiness, is just like, can't really throw them in hell.
Papi Champulo, you got a mic?
Yeah, I got a mic. I'm your backpack. You carry me to victory.
I carry you. Hey, all right, let's go, Papa. What you do for work?
Firefighter.
Ah, firefighter. Hey, that's cool. What's one of your what's your favorite firefighter story?
It really isn't no good stories, man, to be honest.
They're all kind of sad and stuff.
I mean, we're there on you know, some people's worst day, so it's kind of like it's never gonna be good for anybody.
Yeah. Have you ever saved a cat from a tree?
Nah, man, cats out here too gangster, bro. They don't get stuck in trees.
I got a follow-up question then. With all the crap you've seen then and experience and how to deal with, big jump, but what do you think about God in the midst of it all? Like, do you think he's real?
Yeah, I think he's real.
Would you say like you're a Christian or anything with your faith?
Catholic.
Catholic? What's it mean to be a Catholic? So I'm not Catholic. What would it mean to be a
It's
Catholic?
pretty much the same thing as Christianity, man. Go to church Sundays if you can. You pray when you get the chance.
So I guess, do you believe in like heaven and stuff like that?
Yeah, you gotta have faith in something.
All right. How do we get to heaven?
I feel like you just do good. You do good in the world, you know what I mean? You're a good person.
All right.
I don't know if it's all about, you know, how they got the 10 Commandments and everything. I don't know if it's that, but I just feel like if you do good, you get good. If you do bad, you get bad.
Okay. You brought up the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments is actually what is the best way to describe who is good. Because you were saying like, oh, if we're good, and we'll get to heaven, right?
Yeah.
10 Commandments, I think, is perfect. Oh my gosh, bro.
That's my way of seeing it.
But the 10 Commandments, right? You brought them up.
Right.
It says, do not lie. I don't know about you, bro, but I've lied.
I lie all the time, yeah.
Yeah. It says, do not steal. I've stolen something, whether it's a thing or like time. You know what I mean? I've stolen stuff.
Yeah.
It says, do not look at women with lust. I don't know about you, bro, but like I've definitely looked at women with lust.
See, that kind of don't make sense. So what if you're gay? You can't look at men with lust? Like, see, that doesn't make any sense.
Nobody's supposed to look at anyone with lust.
Apparently, and that's human nature, man.
We're not supposed to use the Lord's name in vain, like saying OMG, but actually using those words.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I've fallen short of that before. I've held other things as more important than God in my life, for sure. I don't know about you as well.
Yep. Same.
But like, out of those 5 so far, we're 5 for 5 on breaking these rules, these 10 commandments, these laws that God has implemented, right? If we were to be judged on guilty or innocent on whether we've broken God's law, would we be seen as innocent or guilty?
When you really think about it, as far as other humans go, man, but there's some sick in the world, man.
I agree.
I mean, there's people who kill with no care, no repercussions, and got somebody behind you.
I agree.
And then what do you do about the soldiers? Like, you know, soldiers who go out there killing.
Yeah.
That's one of the commandments, thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not murder. Murder and killing are different. Like, if you murder is someone killing someone in cold blood, but you said something like there's a lot of other like really bad people out there. And you know what? I had a pastor kind of explain this.
I feel like there's more evil people in the world.
For sure. Like,
good, man. I mean, there's some good people, but I mean, here in America, bro, there's just some sick, man.
Like, no, you're not wrong in that. Like, this world's messed up. But like, I don't think we can look at the punishment from God and like the way he punishes sin as if like God's a bear and we're running through the woods, and it's not like, hey, I don't have to be the fastest person, I just can't be the slowest person to get caught by the bear.
Exactly.
Right? The way in which God punishes is not like a bear, but rather more like an avalanche or a tsunami. It doesn't really matter where you are on the mountain in an avalanche, right? Whether you're really close to the bottom or it's at the top, right next to where it starts. The avalanche is going to take out literally everybody, right? And it's similar to us in like, it doesn't matter if, you know, we're the person that only lies or steals, or if we're the person that's, you know, cheated on our wives and killed someone, right? We're all subject to the wrath that God has to give in his justice. Because say me and you were to punch someone in the face, right, and assault someone, we go to jail, right, or we go to the judge, and the judge goes, hey, you know what, you're not as bad as the person who murdered someone, so I'm not gonna make you go to jail. It's like, wait, hold up, that's not very just. Just because someone else is bad, or just because he walked a person across the street or is a firefighter, doesn't mean he doesn't deserve punishment for what he's done. Does that make sense? So
I agree.
even though like we all feel like, oh, I'm not as bad as that next person, we still deserve to be punished by God because we've broken his law.
I feel like it's all about feeling guilty. To be honest, there's people who come out f***ed up in the world and they come out so f***ed up that they don't feel guilty about doing the right or wrong thing, you know. And I'm not saying that's their fault, you know.
I think there's be like levels to that guilt, right? Like, am I feeling guilty? For those who feel guilty, am I feeling guilty because I am feeling guilty because of what society says I should be doing? Am I trying to please the world, or am I trying to hold my standards to what the world standards are? Or am I trying to hold my standards to what God's standards are? You know what I mean?
It's all about making yourself happy. You know? And it took me a while to get to that point where I kind of was like, wow, you know, life is good, man. Like, you have nothing to be guilty about. So I feel like that person right there, whoever's feeling that moment of bliss or happiness, is just like, can't really throw him in hell. It's kind of like he's the freest person in the world, you know. Got nothing in his mind, nothing to be guilty about, nothing holding him back.
Where's Jesus come into play in all this of us getting to heaven?
I don't know. Jesus is like basically God's son, and I think you know, in the real world there definitely was a Jesus, but I don't think it's described how, you know, how we see it in the Bible and everything, you know.
Do you think that he died on the cross and resurrected from the dead?
I don't know about that, man. Definitely, probably there was a person who probably did die on the cross. I don't know if he was resurrected or people started a fairy tale, you know.
Why would they start a fairy tale if that didn't happen?
A lot of people, they need something to hold on to, you know, that have something to believe in.
Would that something be worth dying for, you think?
Because when you really think about it, so if there's nothing else, that's a scary thought. If you just think you die and that's it, you disappear.
It is, for sure.
I don't know what you believe in.
My thought is, if I'm gonna die, right, and if there is a God, I want to know where I'm going and how I get there.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, man. I just feel like you do good, you get good.
Yeah, and I guess my thought is like, we can't do good. Like, as hard as we try, right? Me and you, like going back to the 10 Commandments, we'll continue to mess up. And so that human nature in the biblical sense is called sin. And sin is what it's like a disease inside of you and me that we can't shake on our own, and we're going to continue to be subject to sin and do what sin calls us to do on our own, that we're just going to continue to be drawn back in and drawn back in and drawn back in into sin until we understand who Jesus is. And Jesus is the only way to break this cycle of sin. The Bible says that what we deserve because of our sin and the way we mess up and don't love God and don't love other people is hell. Like, that's what we deserve because of it. But Jesus is the only way out of that through his death on the cross, where he took on the punishment of the sin that me and you deserve. Yeah,
well, look, he did all that and we still commit sin. I feel like the Bible definitely contradicts itself plenty of times. And, you know, my mom's always been Catholic. My whole family's pretty much Catholic.
Yeah.
That, you know, you got to go to church Sundays, this, that. But it's kind of like, man, at the end of the day, you just going by blind faith. Take their word. I mean, I do believe in higher up power, definitely. And, I think everyone's got their own perception of God.
Like you said, blind faith, right? And something that I've been actually kind of pressing into a lot is like, I don't think as a Christian, I have to live in this blind faith of like, you know, I really don't know and stuff, and I just have to have faith. I think God's equipped us and give us the ability to look at, you know, the history of it all. So something that I've been doing a lot lately is like looking at whether the Bible is a reliable historical document, just like other documents that we use, and we're like, hey, this is reliable. And like that's something that I've been looking at, is like the Gospels, the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the first four books of the New Testament. I've been like, hey, can I trust what this says? Can I trust the idea that this book was written and it says Jesus died on the cross, resurrecting the dead for our sins, stuff like that? Like, can I trust this book? I want to know if I can trust this book. And I don't think it has to be this like blind faith thing. And I want to encourage you in that of like, hey, you can like look into it and like come to a rational position that isn't just like blind. You know what I mean? Bobby, you were saying the Bible's like contradictory.
Like, obviously, Catholics say that, you know, you're going to hell just for being gay.
The thing that brings people to hell isn't if someone's gay or straight or bi or anything like that, right? But the thing that puts people to hell is their sin and an unrepentant sin of like, hey,
exactly, bro. Everyone's born with choices, man. You got a choice to make. You can whatever you want with your choice.
The one question I have in that is that choice the way God intended it to be, the way in which God created us to have sex is male and female, because if he meant to do it male and male, then men could be able to reproduce, or female on female, then females would be able to reproduce. But if there is a God and he's a designer, he designed us to be together, male and female. What's the biggest conspiracy theory that you do believe in?
There is definitely someone who definitely did try to f a fish and created some type of mutation out of it.
Are you talking about a mermaid?
That's who made exactly a mermaid or a mermaid. I'm pretty sure someone really did try to f a fish. Think about how f up humans are, man. People, donkeys.
But Jesus can't rise from the dead? Huh?